This conversation about building up your blueprint. It's time to take it, cause time is wasted. Go grind and chase it, don't lose it. This generation need integration with information to move with. An inclination that is abiding in entertaining improvement. Yep.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another dope episode of the Respect My Blueprint podcast, where we give you the blueprint on how to do shit around here, okay? And today, man, I'm super excited, as you guys know, and I to bring you nothing but the bangers, man. You guys know myself, I'm no stranger to the party scene. There's nothing more like than having a good time. And my guest today is definitely running a good time, right? And I want to go ahead and introduce. This is, I would say, the king of the nightlife, right? And believe it or not, to read out the red carpet a little bit for him, my guest here, he actually launched kind of a party in the LA inner circles where he had nearly 1,000 people attend this party, which turned into a near riot, but ended up catching national headlines because of this party. Okay, and he obviously turned that chaos and leveraged it into a nightclub called Sunset, which was a $4 million nightclub as a privacy, as a luxury spot. Then hopped over to Universal Music Group by cracking Grammy Award winning records, man, and also being the mastermind behind a few $billion streams. So today, guys, we're gonna go ahead and hear the blueprint of building an empire of music, nightlife, and beyond. I want to welcome my guest, Connor Treacy. What's going on, Connor?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me, Wesley. I appreciate it. I'm really excited for this one. I got hyped up when we were talking before this.
Absolutely, man. Listen, we had we've had our conversation and everything like that. I'm very enamored, seriously, but like, your story, it's not typical that we have your caliber of guests on our show here.
Let's
And
go.
so, know a little bit about you, and I've done a little research on you, but the audience don't know. So if you could kind of, become an icebreaker for us and give us a little elevator pitch about, who is Connor and, why we should know about him.
Yeah, so I started throwing house parties when I was a teenager, and yeah, one of them was the Project X party that ended up on the news and stuff. I basically then started kind of after that, like booking artists off Google and renting out like 18 plus nightclubs and selling tickets on Facebook. Did that for like a year or two. Then like on my 21st birthday, got hired by like one of the big Hollywood like nightclubs at the time, and then soon after that kind of started getting hired by all of them and kind of became like the young promoter for a lot of the young celebrities. And then that led to me getting hired by Universal Music Group as
Yeah.
an A&R and a manager. And then from there, yeah, I left all that and then opened a nightclub called Off Sunset. Did that for about 3 years, and then now I'm basically producing my own music, my own records, and then I also am doing a lot of political events. So that's kind of the two things I'm focused on now.
Hold on, man. Listen, you just had a whole mouthful
Yeah,
in the short about saying, if I'm not mistaken, you're what, late 20s, early 30s, if I'm not mistaken, right?
32. I'm getting up there, man. I got some grays on the side. You can't tell here, but
Well,
they're coming in.
me, man, you'll be all right, okay?
Yeah.
But hold on, man. You going to start with something really quick. I want to hit the rewind bar for a little bit. Let's talk about this Project X because
Yeah.
I read about it. Now, this was just a party you was throwing at, if I'm 19, right? At that age,
I was
19.
Let me. It was probably like my third or fourth party I ever did.
Really?
So yeah. So basically, I I had an idea. Like I was kind of doing parties like in high school,
Right?
but like it didn't really like fully become a thing until my 19th birthday. So that would have been freshman year of college. Yeah, and so basically, Facebook was huge at that time, and there was like these things called Facebook event pages. I don't know if you remember this at all.
Yeah, you're revealing my age a little bit, man. That was a little while ago.
Yeah. So there was Facebook event pages, and that was like there was basically like this option on there where you could invite everyone's friends with the click of a button to an event page. So yeah. And so basically, a lot of people come up to me like at parties or just in general, like, and they think that the movie is about me. Like, the movie is not about me. I threw the party like the night that the movie came out or something, and that's why there was so much hype around it. But basically, like, I invited like 100,000 people to this Facebook event page, and it was for this house party, and it just like blew up. Like, I didn't even know it was gonna get that big, and it was one of those things, like, there was like news cameras there was like a SWAT team, one kid from the movie, one kid from the movie was there. Yeah, it was like, yeah, it was my first like taste of like something kind of going. And I've had things like that. Just that's how I would describe things to people with how entertainment business works. Some things just go, and some things don't go. Like that went, and
Yeah.
I don't know why.
And so
You know,
it wasn't even intentional. You wasn't even expecting to get nearly 1,000 people to attend this party that you're throwing here, huh?
I knew it was gonna be like big, and like I knew a lot of people were going, but it didn't feel like much different from like it just like it. I don't know. It just turned into its own thing. It's weird. Like it's kind of yeah.
Bro, it's so painful.
SWAT team showed up, dude. Yeah, I have it on my YouTube channel. Yeah, I'm not joking.
That is crazy, which you end up catching national attention, right?
It was
And
on like World Star Hip Hop, like Fox, CNN, like any of the big like news networks. It was like LA Times wrote about it. Yeah, it was like a thing.
so now you got all this attention of it from this party that you're throwing, which is unintentional. So I'm assuming that party gave you the spotlight to be able to kick off your music career and your promotions career as well too into the nightclub, right?
Yeah, it's like an interesting like feeling, I guess, because it with all these people getting it. I guess like to rewind a bit, right? Like at least back then, like I'm not like a musician where like there's like a hit song and like I'm the face of it, right? Like I feel like with the parties, it's like people everyone knows about it, but like I don't know like necessarily who knows about me, if that makes sense. Like they may
I
just
see what you're saying.
do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So like
Yeah.
it's like a weird kind of a like fame or a notoriety where like and it's also not the kind of like notoriety or fame necessarily where like everyone's going to come up and ask for a photo, but maybe like they know exactly who I am when they
Right.
talk to me, but like won't say anything. Like so for me, like that's what it feels like. You know what I mean? Like I don't really it's so hard for me to even know like who even knows who I am sometimes. Cuz sometimes I'm like I don't really know if anyone knows me. Like you know what I mean? It's like do you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right. I mean, you feel like I can walk into Walmart and not be ran down by a
Yeah,
teenage
like
girl.
no one in Walmart knows who I am, but if I walk into certain spots, there could be like 20 people that like I'll know and I'll talk to. Like that's more the vibe. And there's like the occasional person that'll like trip out or something, but really doesn't happen that much. It's more like, does that make sense?
Yeah. So that.
But then there'll be like people that'll come up to me and be like, "Dude, like I used to go to your parties like in high school. It was like epic." Or like, you know what I mean? So yeah, like so it's like it's weird because I guess on the other sense too, I've had like multiple hits or like successes in different pockets. So there's like some people that will know me from doing music stuff, but like they didn't know about Project X. Or there's people that knew me from Project X, and then they would come up to me at Off Sunset and be like, "Bro, it's so crazy that you're doing this because I went to Project X." Or you get what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a weird one with me. You know what I mean? Like it's weird.
So let me ask you. So, and it's funny because you had this party here and it was a huge success.
Right.
Now, when did you realize? Was it then after the party you realized, man, I may be onto something. Let me go ahead and get more into the promotion and the marketing and the nightlife scene.
Yeah, no, I had a feeling immediately after that where I was like, okay, like I have momentum. I gotta like push my foot on the gas.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like I was super hyper aware of that, like from the jump. And yeah, I basically just started going on Google and like messaging managers and agents and like booking acts and selling hard tickets on Facebook, like
Damn.
to like 18 plus clubs. Yeah, like I booked like YG when like 400 Degrees came out. So just to give you like a timeline.
So G was really. popping at home at that time. Absolutely.
That's when like he was like really on the he was like the hottest like new thing kind of popping into this. That's what I would feel like. People my age at the time were like, oh my god, like I would say it was like him and Chief Keef probably or something like that.
Right, okay.
You get what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like he was like so, but yeah, timeline wise, I would say like my first real party I did probably would have been like around my birthday, um, in like fall of 2011, and by like March 2012, Project X happened, and then by like July 2012, I had booked YG and did a show with him. I also booked Cali Swag District, if you know who they are. Teach Me How to Dougie.
Yeah, 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 of course.
Yeah, it was a long time. I booked them. I booked this other guy, Andre Nicotina. He's kind of like a Bay legend.
Oh,
That one was like pretty dope. I was doing like I did a few during that summer, and yeah, so it moved pretty quick. So like it started kind of as like janky like house parties to then like the Project X one was in like a nice house, and then I was doing like 18 plus clubs by like the summertime. So that was kind of like the trajectory. Yeah.
dude.
Well, yeah, the weird thing is like I never had like direction on the whole thing because like my parents aren't in the industry at all. Like I kind of was just going off feeling and gut. And so I could have very easily ended up being like the Rolling Loud guys or like Edie's, like one of those where like doing big ass shows because that's like what it was in the beginning. It wasn't like some curated like Hollywood celebrity. It was more like rager parties type vibe, like events.
Which obviously, right now, so boom, you're doing your thing, all right. So you're able to go ahead and get connections and book with these acts and everything like that, throw these parties, throw these concerts and everything. So how did you end up getting into the music industry? Is it like you said, so now your name is buzzing that the record labels and these like Universal, they started noticing you and they just started reaching out?
Yeah, so I got hit up by Universal probably like fall of 2017, and Project X was like March of 2012. So I was like a big promoter for like a minute like after that. Like I would say I started getting hired by all the big 21 plus clubs like
Damn.
end of 2013, and then I would say probably like 2015 is when it took off. 2015 was like when I was like bringing out like big celebs and stuff, and so I was doing that for like 2 3 years, and then I'm guessing Universal Music Group, they were like, yo, like we just want like a young like person that's in the culture that knows artists and this because I didn't apply. Like it literally caught me off guard.
It's
No,
like, yeah,
no, I was stoked. I honestly I was tripping for like a year or two because I was a huge promoter,
right.
but at the same time I was like, dude, like this isn't gonna last forever. Being a promoter is kind of like being a rapper or something. You know, you're only like hot for a couple of years and then someone else comes in and
A little bit, yeah, there's somebody
you get
else.
what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I felt like at least. And so I felt like I've always been like hyper aware of like what's next and like continuing to like push it. And so I
Right.
got to a point like in 2016 where I was like I've really like brought out everyone I ever like wanted to bring out. I was like I don't know like I don't know if I was like I was definitely the biggest for my age, you know what I mean? Because I was like 22 or 23 at the time, but like as far as like where I was trying to take it, I was like, I just I feel like I need to be doing something else to like elevate this. And then that just kind of like fell out of the sky, like out of nowhere. So that's kind of like been the like story of my life. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
It's usually the things that you don't plan they kind of just fall in your lap. That's the ones that's really end up working out, right? Because sometimes we may overthink things a little bit. We may be like, damn, I want to do this. How this should be working out, but next thing you know, that curveball hits you, and boom, which all right, hold on, which okay, I want to first we we're talking about you promoting, but I want to get into this, and we may go back into the promotions again, right, in the music,
Right.
but. I did talk about because I read about your Off Sunset Club, which was what you called it because this was like a private luxury club for our family and friends. That's where you
Yeah,
got
yeah,
the name.
yeah. Only friends and family.
Only friends and family. I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So in this club, if I'm not mistaken, it generated over $4 million in 1 year.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
tell
The year one it popped. Year one it popped. Man, it was another one of those situations where it had gotten brought up, I think, like right before COVID hit or during COVID. I can't remember what had happened, but my partner had brought it up to me and like I had other things going on at the time and like I actually like put it in the back burner. I was like, well, it's probably not going to happen for one. And then for two, like I don't know, it was just COVID, so it
I
was
mean,
just like
yeah, you didn't know what the COVID was going to bring, so you kind of like uncertain at that point, right?
yeah.
Obviously.
And then I also just didn't know if like going back into nightlife was like a step back because basically I'll tell you exactly where my headspace was at. So
Uh-huh.
I was at Universal Music Group. I basically developed this artist named Youngblood. He's a rock act from like 2,000 followers. We ended up doing like multiple platinum records, and then I also was managing this producer that I got placed on Dua Lipa's album, and the album ended up winning a Grammy, so we both got credited on it. And so it was one of those situations where I just had like two hits, like back to back,
Right.
and I was just like, I don't think I should stay here at Universal Music Group. You know what I mean?
The time out, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a Grammy and award-winning music exec. You're managing artists that ends up achieving success, and then you tell yourself, I don't want to be part of it no more.
Yeah, because that was my first taste of being corporate,
Uh,
and it's just it's a feeling than what I was used to. The nightclub world is a lot more cowboyish and it's a lot more like handshake and like your word. Yeah, and I watched this like David Geffen documentary, and he's like this huge like a music guy from back in the day, and I think he said something along the lines of like if you believe in it, you just got to go for it. And I felt like, by the way, to like make it clear, I like was super grateful to Universal Music Group for everything they did. They did me completely right. Like I have no bad blood. I just felt like if I had stayed, then I would have just kept like providing hits and then I would have stayed in the same position. That's what I felt like at the time.
oh,
That makes
God.
sense?
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And
Yeah, so
it's a feeling as well, too, obviously.
yeah, I just more or less was like, you know, if I've already done this in 2 years, like, I should maybe start my own company doing it.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so it was totally like amicable. Like I'm still cool with a lot of those guys slash girls. Like it was chill. Like I have no bad. I'm not anti record label, by the way. I love the label system. Like I think for some people it's a great fit, like artists and stuff. So it's all good. Basically, that was where my head was at. I I had left Interscope or Universal or whatever,
Hmm.
right before COVID, honestly, like probably like October 2019,
Right.
and then yeah, COVID hit, and so that kind of just put a pause on everything. That was crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so then I basically wanted to just be like a music manager. That's what I was trying to do. Basically, the off Sunset thing kind of just fell in my lap, and then we opened it August of 2021, and it just like hit like immediately.
I mean, do you think because 2021, that's when the country was kind of like opening up from COVID and there was less so,
Yeah,
do you think,
it was starting to wind down. There was a
yeah,
few reasons why it worked. There's a few reasons why it worked. For one, yeah, COVID was just starting to end, and we still, I think, were like cotton swabbing people in the beginning when it opened. I think that's like where it was at, kind of, but like it was like
okay.
dwindling down a bit. But then also, there was no new nightclubs open. We were the first new nightclub open out the gate from,
Okay, so it's just, you don't get the first thing
yeah.
they can do, and
For the
yours is
first
it.
thing, there was that all the other nightclub groups were like probably paying their leases or whatever during COVID, so they were like emotional or like financially hit. And then there wasn't a new spot that opened after us for like a year and a half or 2 years, so we had like a really long runway.
Damn. So, bro, you have literally no so that's
Yeah.
like the recipe for success in high demand and no competition.
It was that was kind of the situation, and then I think we got like a pretty good lease deal. because it was COVID. There was like a few perfect storm type things that went into it, but yeah, it was another one of those situations where like I almost didn't do it. I was like, oh, like I can't take another L right now.
You would have been kicking yourself in your ass till this day had you had not went through with that, bro. So that's what I said. Sometimes it's the things that's unintentional that ends up working out
It's
for us.
always, man, and it's so frustrating. It's so hard to deal with it sometimes.
Okay, so boom. You leave the record label space and everything like that. And well, you're not doing the nightclubs, but now you decided to become your own artist, your own not your own artist, but you're producing your own records and everything. So
Right.
how the journey has been right now for
Yeah, so then I kind of got to a point where I'm in a weird spot. You know, by the way, I have like a following and stuff like that. Like I have a pretty big base on like Instagram and some other things. So like I'm definitely I guess like I have more of a presence than like a typical manager or like label person. But
you? Okay.
I just know a lot of artists and just people in general from over the years from what I've done. And the thing I don't like about by the way, I still manage a few people and I'll still do it. But like what I don't like about management from a manager's perspective is you're kind of just building these people up and giving them plays, and then they can either just like leave you, or yeah, or they just use all that leverage to then push you down, or they just don't show up to the plate when you do give them the play, and they don't like produce the result.
It's a grimy game right now, pretty much, as you could say. Yeah, it's cutthroat. And
It's all cut. I think everything's cutthroat, but that's like if anyone's curious about management, the bad sides about it from a manager's perspective, it feels very like it's just always like what can you do for me? And so you're like giving people all these plays and then you're building them up and then essentially like they can just clip you whenever or they there's some people like you'll do the play and then they just like end up missing their flight and not showing up. Like there's just all sorts of shit that always happens. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't want to like knock anyone in management or like, and I have some relationships in management that are great, but yeah, it's like a very feels like you're an assistant sometimes, or like I don't know. It just depends. It depends. But how I got to where I am now basically is I don't physically produce records. I just executive produce. So I always try to be clear about it. I don't make beats. I don't work behind a computer. I don't use Ableton. What I do is I know how to find dope producers, dope beats, and I know how to get really good like accredited vocalists and I can put them together on records and then I put it out myself under my own name. That's basically.
so you're like the DJ Khaled in a way, like you say, you
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
know.
yeah. I don't know how much Khaled actually physically produces or not, but yeah, I'm more of like a face play type person. I understand what's possible and what's not, and like the thought process behind why I'm doing that is because it helps build my name and my IP. And like maybe I don't ever get as big as Khaled, but now I at least have like like a proof of point of like the work that I do, and then it brings in more like consulting jobs, label work, artists, managers. People want to work with me because they've seen what I've done. You know, because before I was basically just doing this for like four DJs or four artists and then they're just credited on it and I'm just the manager. And I'm like that's insane. Like I'm the one getting like this big artist on this song and then I'm just the manager. It's
You
crazy.
don't know the work and everything like that,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
then I don't even work with the artist anymore and then they have these millions of monthly listeners and I have nothing. I just have like some money in my pocket, you know?
You know, you also have the legacy because, being part of any type of such as, music, literature, anything, books, that's legacy, right? That's something that's gonna outlive you. So it's something
Yeah.
that you always be able to have say that, man, it's gonna outlive my presence on this earth, which I'm
Yeah.
gonna completely off the cuff question here. This is more for personal consumption for me, and this is you've been in Universal, and of course, I'm pretty sure you're definitely aware of this whole Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef that has been going on. It's the hottest thing that's been since the Tupac and Biggie beef, right?
Right.
But the thing about that beef is what Drake is now he ended up filing a lawsuit against Universal Music Group, if I'm not mistaken, because they were inflating the streams or the plays of the Nightlife songs and everything like that. So I just wanted to get your whole viewpoint on the beef, and that's is like the point of Drake's lawsuit. Is that something that the labels really be doing? Like if they want to prop up an artist or prop up a song, they would do so and push down another artist per se.
I'm gonna be completely honest, like from being someone that worked at a record label, I didn't see or hear anything about that. But what I can say is there's definitely like priorities in the label where there's certain artists that get more attention because maybe the label thinks they'll be more successful. But I never heard or saw the labels doing anything malicious necessarily. I've seen like say there's two new artists that get signed. I've seen before where they're like, so and so, we're pushing the button on them, like let's like hone in, but it's not some weird crazy button. It's just like the marketing guy and the A&Rs are just focused more on this artist more than the other. It's not like some crazy like behind the curtain thing. It's just like if you worked at any company and they're like, this product we think is going to be more successful than this product, let's spend some more time on it. I don't think it's like that deep, you know.
Right.
Not to
Okay,
be the bearer of bad news to anyone that thinks there's like something crazy about record labels or something. I would say it's just like any other company, you know? That's
we
all
know
it is.
we
It's like if you had like a toothpaste company and the cherry toothpaste is getting better sales than the orange toothpaste and they're just like, let's focus on the cherry toothpaste. You know what I mean? Yeah,
we put
that's all it
out.
is. I don't like I think people have this like weird concept about record labels. It's just any other business, like, you know?
Okay, and you okay? So let's fast forward a little bit here. So now you're into music, right? And honestly, for the audience a little bit here, I want to go to give them a little value. So, what has been your secret in because despite what anybody thinks about you, right, or your age, or whatever the case may be, bro, you've achieved an impressive resume, bro. You've top national headlines. You've thrown hella parties, been part of multi-million-dollar businesses with the Percent Nightclub. You've done things that a lot of people don't do, being award-winning Grammys and things like that, right? So, what do you think has been your secret to being so successful in just marketing and branding and things like that?
Well, for one, this is all I've thought about every day, like since I was 19. Like, there's
Wow.
not a, yeah, yeah, like there hasn't been a day that I don't think about like what I can do to like get bigger or expand it or whatever, right? So like I'm like dialed in that sense.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm like addicted to it for one. Number two, I always try to have like a lot of things going on at once because I don't ever really know what's gonna work.
You sound like my girlfriend, right? Like
Yeah,
she has things going on at once too, yeah. So, but sometimes the chaos is like, that sometimes is the eye of the storm, right? That allows you to, because, sometimes the idle mind is like the devil's workshop. So when you keep yourself busy and you're able to do so many things, that's when sometimes it's like, oh, wow, I found that secret recipe. Boom, this could be able to be the next thing for me, you
right.
know? So, okay, all right.
Yeah, no, yeah.
no, I'm just gonna say, do you think consistency is one of the ingredients that have been part of your blueprint for you to be able to?
Consistency. I've also been sober since I was 19, so I don't drink or smoke weed or nothing. So I've been sober the whole time. Yeah,
Wait a minute. LA kid that's the king of nightlife actually wasn't indulging in the vices
none
of
of it, dude. I've never even drank in a nightclub legally. Like I was 19 when I got sober. I wasn't even 20. I never had a drink in the club when I was 21 or anything.
wow. Man,
Yeah,
and it's crazy because I'm going on over a year completely sober as well too.
let's go.
Drinking or smoking or anything like that. Um, I've been a pothead, but I quit that as well. And the reason why is that right there can what's the word I'm looking for? That's your judgment in a way, right? And especially when you're trying to handle business and things like that, it's just the wrong perception sometimes when you in the room, when you're in certain rooms and around certain individuals, you want to be able to go ahead and keep it professional all the time. So I completely understand when in the concept of, hey man, listen, the devices we gotta just leave. We're too old for that stuff there. All right, so but that right there is pretty surprising though, man. I would have easily thought, man, 19 years old, Project X, 1,000 people, it's a big time club and everything, bro. Oh man, but you know what? Let's get off that. Let's get off that. Okay, so you did the club thing for a little bit,
Yeah.
right? And first of all, was the whole concept, family and friends to having the private exclusive club, was that more of your idea, or you came with your partners to come up with that concept?
Yeah, no, one of my partners came up with the idea. I don't remember who did, but we also had this idea of like we put stickers on people's phones so they couldn't record who was in there. Like we made it very private. It wasn't on Google Maps for a while. Like we didn't have a sign in the front of the club. It was like a speakeasy, like lounge type vibe. We wanted to make it like word of mouth, grassroots kind of thing.
Dope, dope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you've also been able to manage, like you say, successful artists and everything like that. So for these artists to be successful, that shows that you have the Midas touch of promoting, marketing, and everything like that. So what do you think do you believe that all of the talents and skills that you've had up until this point has helped your artist as well?
Well, for one, I definitely want to make it clear I do not have the Midas touch. I've had some shit work, but I've had some shit not work. So we do not we do not need that out there. I have a very bad batting average, but some have been home runs. So
And that's it. But if the home run is a grand slam that ends up winning the game, that's all that matters, right? That you work with to be able to get to the next level. Because you come up with some pretty cool concepts, like you just mentioned with the club.
I can't just like make someone a superstar if they're not already a superstar. You get what I'm saying? I've learned that lesson. You know what I mean? I've tried to do that before. I feel like when I do best is when I go in and like I can do my thing. Does that make sense? Ability.
No, yeah, like, come on, what do you
Yeah.
want me to do here?
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like
Okay,
it's like if it all makes sense, like if what I do makes sense with what they're doing, then maybe we both combined can do something bigger, you know?
okay. Which, hold on. First of all, I want to also make sure I paint the right perception of you, right? I don't want the audience to think that you're some type of, waking up late party animal, having all these wild, crazy parties. Like, you're actually a college graduate, and if I'm not mistaken, you got a bachelor's degree, multiple degrees, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. So I did my undergrad at Penn State. I got a master's degree in law from USC, and then I'm finishing my MBA right now at USC. I finished that in a year. Yeah.
Whoa, listen, if anybody trying to judge a book from the first 30 minutes of this conversation, you just in 10 seconds told them shut the hell up.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a year left at USC. I'm doing my MBA now, so that'll be done. But that was just another situation where, I kind of started to feel it at Universal or maybe even before that where I just felt like my real value was like I was just kind of like the person that knew people. And so it was like
Right.
super like clout reliant. And like I was like, this just isn't sustainable long term. And then also people would be like, oh yeah, you're really street smart. I'm like, is that like a diss? Like, you get what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah. So I kind of felt like in order to like break through the next level slash also have just more like stability where even if so and so big name celebrity stops talking to me, like I'm still me and I still have at least like the college cosign and the degrees and I like know like you get what I'm saying?
yeah, I see what you're saying. I see
Yeah,
what you're
that's
saying.
that's why I did all of that. That was the thought process. And I'm happy I did it. You know what I mean? But it's definitely been hard, but that was
Oh,
kind of like why I got there with that.
yeah, man. I mean, shit, you're removed from being, getting your MBA, bro, which that right there is, damn, that's phenomenal. So, I mean, you've literally touched a lot of corners in life, right? In the aspect of the party animal to corporate America to being college grad, to, postgraduate school to not even getting almost, like you said, the highest point of even of education. Now, the last point I want to kind of touch on a little bit, you even in the political space, right? Touch on that a little bit, how you even, putting some roots into that aspect.
Yeah, so I think when I was like at USC, well, I'm still at USC, but when I was doing the law school portion of USC, I kind of started meeting some people and getting involved in some political stuff. I interned for the mayor of this like city called El Segundo near me.
Okay.
2023 probably I did that. Yeah, like two
Okay.
years. Yeah, and
All
then
right, right.
I was like going to like some town halls and helping them with some like back end paperwork and doing stuff like that. And then I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to get involved more, and I kind of had that feeling again, like that I had before in nightlife, where I had the feeling again, like with music and nightlife and everything else. I was like, this is cool, but like I don't know if it's like fully fulfilling. Like, how could I kind of expand on this? Like, how could I make more of an impact? And so one thing led to another. Like, I started meeting a couple different political like groups. Like, they're all democratic organizations. Like, one of them's Stonewall, another one is called Working Families Party, like a few different groups like that. And so I kind of just fell into it, and then they realized I could do events and I DJ and stuff like that. And so I just started doing some like events. I did the first one 2 weeks ago. Like 2 weeks ago for Stonewall, we did like a LGBTQ plus fundraiser for their club. I DJ'd it, and then I'm doing a small one tomorrow for Working Families Party, and then at the end of the month, I'm organizing and DJing the after party of the California Democratic Convention with Working Families Party. So it's starting to move now a bit, but yeah,
Okay.
that's basically what's been going on.
So what is in the future for you, man?
Yeah, so I really try to keep like my company is just Connor Treacy LLC, and I try to keep it very clear. Like I'm a music guy that does political events. I work with political groups, and currently I'm not doing anything hospitality related as far as nightclubs or anything like that. But that being said, if any of it, if an opportunity came my way, like I would be open to doing something, whether it's like a nightclub or a restaurant or a hotel or something. You know what I mean? But
Hence,
at
obviously.
at the end of the day, I live in LA. I work in entertainment. I am a connector, and whether that is doing an event for a political group or putting together songs and working with artists or doing events just in hospitality, they all kind of coincide. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there are going to be artists that want to perform at the AOC Bernie rally. There are going to be political groups that want me to put together the event and DJ it. There are going to be artists that want to do songs with me and we put them out. There are going to be artists that want to be managed. There are maybe like a hotel group or a restaurant group that wants me to like help be the face or curate their, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the world that I sit in. I don't know
Oh,
if there's a technical definition of that, but like that's kind of that makes.
I think I've shared with you a large portion of our audience. They're millennials, your age bracket, my age bracket, and they're aspiring entrepreneurs, newly minted entrepreneurs. They're trying to get there to the next level in their business journey. So, if there's one bit of advice you could share with them as far as being able to hit that breakthrough to build their blueprint, as you know, that's the topic of the show, to build their blueprint, what would that bit of advice be?
Yes. I think you really just gotta, like, for one, figure out like what you love to do, right? Because like
Yeah.
at the core of all of this, I loved throwing parties. Like it was just what I loved. I loved to like put together the whole event and see everyone show up and like it be popping. I never did it to make a bunch of money necessarily, like I just liked the idea of it and I had a lot of fun doing it. And then from there, I just kept trying to like figure out ways to like make it bigger, and to expand on it. And so I guess if you're like starting off, like figure out what you really love to do and like keep it simple, and then once you get it going, then just continue to like build it out.
Okay. That And that's dope because I like the fact that you said you wasn't money driven. Money wasn't just the it wasn't a head leading cause for you to do it. You just like doing what you love. And there's a difference between I tell people, there's a difference between having a hobby and a business, but sometimes when you have that hobby, it just ultimately turns into a business without you even realizing it. So,
Yeah.
just having that love is what's key most of the times.
I'll put it like this though too. I never did anything to lose money, but like I always like if it came down to it, if I knew that the party would like break even or maybe even lose a little bit of money, but I knew that the hype from it and the photos and everything else would like make a bigger case study for me to then do something bigger. Like sure, but there was always like a reason behind it, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
So, like I said, the ROI, it didn't have to be instant gratification or
No,
instant.
I
It's
always think long term. I always think long term.
dope, dope. And I think that's
Always.
a lot of people need to start doing as well too, thinking long term, which, you know, Connor, bro, honestly, bro, listen, before we wrap up, is there anything you got going on up and coming that you want to let the people know about, any special events, any service products that you're selling, anything that you want to make the audience aware of that, because I'm pretty sure a lot of the younger crowd is enjoying this episode here. So, I definitely want to go ahead and give you your props and have them participate in anything you got going on.
Yeah, so basically the next big event would be the after party of the California Democratic Convention. That's
Okay.
May 30th in Anaheim. And I have that on my page, connortracy.com, and then also I have a my premiere like EP coming out June 27th. 3 songs. It's called Contactee. It's with my boy Tobias. He's super like well accredited, dope producer. We got some big artists on it. One of them was on Black Coffee's album that won a Grammy. Another one was on Anderson .Paak's album that won a Grammy. So we've got like a good cast. So that's where we're building now. But it'll get bigger. We're just getting started.
Hell yeah, that's what it's about, man. You
Yeah.
just put the blueprint together right now. That's what it is, man. You
Yeah.
just get it rolling. Love it, love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, how can the fans follow you, man? Really, I know you already spilled the beans and said you got a huge following, and I know you're a social media head. So let the people know how they can stay in touch with you.
So yeah, Instagram is just the Connor Treacy. YouTube, I think, is the same thing, but you just type in Connor Treacy and I'm sure it'll pop up. You just type in my name on LinkedIn. Where else am I at? I'm on TikTok, the Connor Treacy. I just started TikTok.
Okay.
What else am I on? You can just go to my website too, connortracy.com.
ConnorTracy.com. Well, all right. We're definitely going to have the website in the description of the show, man. Connor, bro, this was a dope episode, man. Seriously. Love the conversation. You're a breath of fresh air from what we normally talk about. Like I said, with this podcast, we normally talk about X's and O's when it comes to like business and things like that. But you gave the audience a kind of a rude awakening today. Yeah, today was a little different.
Hopefully there's some things people can pull from it,
That's what it's all about, man. I definitely appreciate it. Listen, gang, as you know, man, we hold no bars, no business hold on giving you guys value, and I hope you guys was able to enjoy today's conversation with Connor Treacy. Listen, if you ever in the California, LA area, tap in with Connor. One thing I promise you, you definitely won't be any shortage of having a good time if you rock it with Connor, okay? Because he's a man that knows a good time, all right? But listen, guys, this is the episode where you can check us out every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. You can definitely make sure you follow us on YouTube, Spotify, as well as Apple iTunes. And as always, guys, we're going to catch you on the flip side. Take care, guys. Peace.
Blueprint, yeah. Blueprint. This conversation about building up your blueprint. It's time to take it, cause time is wasted. Go grind and chase it, don't lose it. This generation need integration with information to move with. An inclination that is abiding in entertaining improvement. Yep, Wesley Paul with Blueprint. This guests are exclusive. Get on and tune in and then learn some new tips about credit, finance, investment. A nice chance to get rich and buy land. Flip it, quick 9 bands. Learn all the skills from Wesley did it. Learn how to build successful business. Run up a mill and get the digits. Run up a mill. Look, safe place where guests are speaking. Based off financial freedom. All facts, no cap, believe it. Podcast, you have to see it.